Good afternoon, I'm Vashon Brown with the Midday News. A special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. Almost a year ago, after a controversial police chase and shooting along Old Harbour Road in St. Catherine, Mayor of Spanish Town Norman Scott is again raising concerns. As you'll hear in this report, Mayor Scott wants the Commissioner of Police to take drastic actions.
Last April, a car chase and shootings, which involved two groups of police, left two civilians and a police officer dead in Chedwin Park, St. Catherine. 9 months later, and Mayor of Spanish Town Norman Scott still has concerns.
The security forces were involved in a fatal shooting in the town sometime last year. I'm yet to hear and see some tangible actions being done as it relates to investigation and outcomes.
Two of the cops at the center of the controversy, Corporal Kirk Fraser and Corporal Ramon Scott, were charged on May 17 with various offenses. Each officer was charged jointly with 7 offenses. Corporal Scott was charged separately with 2 other offenses. However, Mayor Scott believes that is not enough. He wants the Commissioner of Police to take drastic actions.
I'm still waiting on the Commissioner of Police to take some drastic measures as it relates to the rogue cops that are creating serious havoc in this country. And until we get those things in place, we're going to be having those continuous activities as it relates to crime and violence in this country.
Prince Moore, TVJ News.
Residents of Mountain View in St. Andrew are worried that the recent bloodletting could lead to a cycle of violence perpetrated by children who recently lost their parents. Several persons were killed in a gang feud between people from Goodrich Lane, Jakes Road and the Backbush along Mountain View Avenue.
We want it done now. Too much father are dead, leave them young, picking them behind. And then picking them and go up with them adventure, and it's not good for we.
The children are now.
One resident who did not wish to reveal her identity told our news team on Monday that she feared that the children in the community could grow up with plans to avenge their parents' death.
Kill them parents, and them don't be up here so no side them kill the parents. Them. Come on, what kind of community? We not have no Mountain View.
It's one of the reasons she's appealing to the perpetrators to put the guns down. The Portmore police are trying to find the motive for a shooting incident which left one man dead and another injured last night in Gregor Park, St. Catherine. The dead man's identity is being withheld. It's reported that about 7:30, the deceased was inside a house when a vehicle drove up to the location. The occupants of the vehicle later called the deceased. While he was approaching the vehicle, the occupants opened fire, hitting him several times. He was later pronounced dead at hospital. A passerby was also injured in the incident. As uncertainty lingers over the future of housing in Port Royal, people living along the beach on Foreshore Road continue their call for more housing solutions in the community. Speaking with our news team recently, the residents argue that they've been neglected for years.
I know some you want to really squat, brother. I don't love squatting, I don't love one for free. I was a fisherman, I want to work for my thing. I'm willing to pay any amount of money, but give me something. I'm willing to do what you want to do.
He believes that if more housing solutions are provided, the squatting issue will be resolved.
If we get more house, everybody is happy. For the younger generation, because me soon they done gone. Everybody's like on our age, but what will happen to the younger generation? I say things them come up and I have to do the same thing too.
And it's now time for a break, but stay with us. More stories right after these messages. Welcome back. Continuing the news now. The National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, is in the process of finalizing 3 pieces of legislation to bolster its mandate as regulators of solid waste management. These are the National Solid Waste Management Disposal of Solid Waste Facilities Regulations, the National Solid Waste Management Disposal of Hazardous Waste, Electronic and Electrical Regulations, as well as the Public Cleansing Regulations. Now, according to the NSWMA's recently tabled 2018-2019 annual report, the National Solid Waste Management Disposal of Hazardous Waste Electric and Electronic Regulations will facilitate the removal of certain categories of hazardous waste. The Public Cleansing Regulations will prohibit the discarding of solid waste from public and private transportation, littering, and the deposit of solid waste and noxious substances in watercourses. The NSWMA says the disposal of solid waste facilities regulations will primarily establish a licensing regime for the operation of solid waste facilities. The entity says final instructions are being prepared for submission to the Office of the Parliamentary Council. 989 criminal cases have been listed to be tried in the Home Circuit Court for the Hillary session. The figure was released at the official opening of the session this morning. A breakdown showed that 551 murders and 303 sexual offense cases make up the bulk of the list. 12 cases involving members linked to organized gangs under the Anti-Gang Act are listed to be tried this term. There are also 6 human trafficking cases and 3 kidnapping cases to be heard during the session. 128 cases were disposed of during the Michaelmas session. News overseas now. At least one person, a 77-year-old man, has died after a series of earthquakes in Puerto Rico. 2 powerful earthquakes, including a 6.4 magnitude quake, hit the island early this morning. That's a day after a 5.8 earthquake. At least 8 people were hurt. A number of buildings were also damaged. Energy officials say some power plants are out of service and one plant is damaged. Puerto Rico's governor is telling people to remain calm as the government responds. Monday's earthquake caused one home to collapse and it also caused rock slides. Weather officials in San Juan say there is no threat of a tsunami at this time. And the Trinidad-based Seismic Research Center, SRC of the University of the West Indies, UWI, today said the recent earthquakes in Puerto Rico should serve as a reminder to the Caribbean that the region is seismically active and there is need for preparedness. In recent days, several Caribbean countries have been rocked by earthquakes ranging in magnitudes from 3.9 to 4.3. Time now for sports. One of Jamaica's top-performing schools at the annual Boys and Girls Championships is being accused of physical abuse against a group of student athletes. TVJ Sports has received a complaint from a St. Elizabeth-based parent of Hydel High about a shocking incident which allegedly happened last year. TVJ's Karen Madden has this exclusive report.
In the wake of a picture circulating on social media showing wounds on the upper thigh of a student athlete who has since lost her scholarship, TVJ Sports made contact with the mother of the child seen in the pictures. Her daughter alleged that she was beaten with a tennis racket by a staff member after an encounter with the dorm mother when she didn't get breakfast after returning from Saturday training at 2 p.m.
On my way out, I was arguing with myself, saying that if I was at my house, I would be having dinner now and not breakfast, so I don't want any breakfast.
She said another incident occurred when her 2 brothers who attend an all-boys school visited her but brought friends with them, and the matter was reported to a staff member.
I saw the other girls inside. Then he started to question us about what happened that Saturday. He held on to me, and while questioning the other girls, each time he asked a question, he hit me. After that, I was suspended from school for 5 days.
Her mother, Celia Jones, claimed the staff member told her he flogged her daughters, one for arguing with the dorm mother and the other for being present when boys from another school visited them.
I got call from Mr. Bennett, who is the head coach at Hydel, that my daughters was involved in some incident at the school and that they were flogged.
The mother of 7 said she took her younger daughter, who had wounds, to 2 medical facilities in St. Elizabeth, but she was not treated because the doctors told her she should have filed a report with the police. But she said she did not report the matter to the police as her children were still attending the St. Catherine-based school and they were afraid.
When I saw our hip and the condition that she was in, then I took her to the health center at Magati to get some medical attention because the condition, it was not pretty. And then when I got there, the doctor told me that he could not attend to her because that's a police matter and that I should report it.
On Friday, January 3, when TVJ Sports made contact with the principal of the Hydel Group of Schools, Hyacinth Bennett, she hung up during efforts to arrange an opportunity for the school to give its version of the events. Calls and text messages to Hydel's head coach Corey Bennett, the son of the principal, also went unanswered. However, TVJ Sports received a telephone call from attorney at law Vincent Wellesley informing us that he has been retained by Hydel High and that he has advised his clients not to grant any interviews. On Monday, we tried to reach Wellesley and he told us on 2 occasions to call him back. All subsequent efforts to reach him were unsuccessful. Karen Madden, TVJ Sports.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Vashon Brown. Don't forget to join us at 7 for Primetime News Package. On behalf of the News, Sports and Production teams, have a good afternoon.